Considering the sexy scenes he's read, totally 18 plus. Don't you know who you're talking to?
Daddy. Strength to hold in what is trying to get out. Okay. Temptation.
He lowers himself down between my legs and watches me closely as he pushes himself inside me. I cry out, moaning with pleasure, uncaring how feral and out of control I sound. Kyle moves slowly at first, kissing me so softly that I feel like I might explode. Then he pulls back and slams into me hard.
I shall save you all from spiders. I'm an expert trapper and releaser. That's so sweet that you release them. I murder them. Hello. Those poor spiders never stood a chance. Happy Super Bowl if you're into that kind of thing. Never will. Mitchell, congrats on redeeming first place. Stump Mama's mama, hello. I hear your recovery is going pretty good. I'm glad to hear that. I hope there have been zero complications. Because you deserve it. But yes, as I was saying, happy Super Bowl day. If you're into that kind of thing. I am not, which is why I'm here. At one point, I actually forgot that it was a Super Bowl. Does that make me un-American? Maybe. Maybe it does. I don't know. Tig Madison. Hi, Tig. What's up? How you doing? Hey. Yep, no complications, just lots of walking. We're watching the game, but I only care about the commercials. Same. If I'm gonna watch anything, and I can find them all later on YouTube, I am quite sure. It's just the commercials. Couldn't care less. Even the, excuse me, even the halftime show, I can watch that later, you know? Who cares? I mean, Usher's cool and all, I guess. 20 years ago? No, I'm just kidding. He's fine. But, you know, it's whatever. Mr. Thump Gaming. What's up, sir? A flyby before bed? Well, thanks, Tig. Y'all need to go check out my wonderful friend, Tig Madison. She's from the UK. She's a wonderful human being. You can't go wrong watching her stream. In the dim glow of a monitor, Tig Madison emerges, a rookie in the gaming streets, navigating through classics and unknown territories. From soaring skies in Avatar to the undead alleys of Resident Evil 2, they're crafting a sanctuary for misfits and mavericks. Each stream's a first-time heist into digital worlds. Will they conquer or crash? And what secrets lurk behind their festive streams? The plot thickens with every playthrough. There you go. That's my my Frosty Tools voice for you. I agree the halftime show hasn't been anything great lately. No, it really hasn't. Not really. It hasn't been for a long time, and that's unfortunate, you know? They can do better. They can do better. That's a pretty good AI description. FrostyTools.com does pretty well. Can't go wrong there. We've also got my man Thump in the house. Perhaps if they pay the performers. I don't know if that's gonna help. Gel, what's up? How you doing? Let's see what Frosty has to say about Thump. In the shadowy corners of Twitch, there's a voice that echoes through the alleys of variety streaming. Thump Gaming, a mysterious figure with a mic for hire, weaves tales in Valorant and beyond. From Super Bowl showdowns to beachside broadcasts, they're on a quest for 5,000 followers. Will their community nights and addictive gameplay be enough? Or is there more to this aspiring voice actor than meets the eye? The plot thickens. Hashtag Road to 5K. Adamantine, hello. How are you? And Supernatural Rider. How are you, madam? Supernatural Rider is also a streamer. She does workout streams in the mornings. And then a little later moves into like co-working streams where you can lay out your tasks, figure out what you want to get accomplished, and then as you do, you can strike them from the list and continue with your day. I often lurk in there while I am working myself. I just don't put all my tasks up because it would take too long. And I would honestly forget which ones I posted. So I'm sick. Oh no, got the flu. Oh, the flu sucks. I'm so sorry. Been sick since Friday, not feeling too good, been cooped up in bed. Did go to urgent care, so that's good. Hopefully they gave you what the heck is it called? It's a medicine. Is it Tamiflu? Is that what I'm thinking of? Anyway, it's supposed to like really help knock out the flu in much quicker time. So I hope for a speedy recovery for you, because that's no fun. Mitchell's like, medicine? What? Whole family has it. Oh no. Adam had it first, gave it to the family, and then gave it to me. You got Tamiflu, and also Cap missed too. Tamiflu is what I was thinking of. I hope it works. Rampage Rhino. What's up, bro? How you doing? Oh, good grief. I hope you get better soon. Yeah, Tamiflu works great. Mr. Rhino, it is my absolute honor and privilege as soon as I remember how. Please hold. Pretty sure I know where to go here. We're going to go to Community, Roles Manager. We're going to add. We're going to look up Mr. Rhino. You are now an honorary VIP. Congratulations. Welcome. Refresh, and you should see it. Success. Congratulations, sir. How the heck are you? Folks, Rampage Rhino, not my brother, but he should be from another mother up in Canada. He actually has other brothers who also stream, and soon they will be streaming together as under one banner, you know, that kind of thing, under one roof. My life is full right now. Yes, I know, or at least from what you've told me, I know. I hope things get squared away and sorted out ASAP, my friend. I hope time is on your side. That is your puzzle for tonight. BTW. Just gonna get my tea here. I'm not using my normal mug. I'm using my emote mug. On one side, we've got the books that I'm sitting on, and then we've got hype on the other. Unfortunately, though, this one, because it doesn't have the normal affixed lid in a metal cup, it doesn't stay hot for long. Oh, but it's delicious. So yes, enjoy that puzzle if you so choose. And if not, that's fine. You know, I was hesitant to stream tonight, I'll be honest. I was on the fence. Not because of how I feel or anything like that. I'm doing okay. The Super Bowl draws in a lot of people. And I had to think to myself, am I going to let that fact dictate how I live my life? And so I had a conversation with myself in my head, and I kind of determined that no, I'm not going to let it dictate my choices. So regardless of the Super Bowl and all of the 3 points I think I heard they scored, I'm here. Oh, that tea is ridiculously good. Should be a crime. Good news is Adam and family are on the mend. I'm still in the cycle of being sick, trying to get better. Fluids and sleep. Fluids and sleep. And maybe some vitamin C. Do you have any Airborne? Stunt Mama's mama and I will tell you, Airborne can do wonderful things. Especially if you do it daily when you're not feeling that great. It's just hot, gorgeous liquid. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Someone new followed the channel earlier from a shout out I got in another stream, but I don't know where they are, so I can't say hi. Anyway, many underestimate the power of a good long sleep. That's how the body mends itself. You're absolutely right. Our bodies can't get into a healing cycle unless it is in a dormant phase. And the only way to do that without medication is to sleep. Because when you're asleep, you're just in low power mode. And then your body can get to work on going, okay, let's clean up this mess. And little by little, piece by piece, things start to mend. Now, you obviously can help that by giving it the vitamins and the nutrients and the assistance that it needs to get there and get there faster. But yeah, and then we use fluids because of all the cleanup that it does. It has to go somewhere. We don't want it to stick around in our bodies. So we pump ourselves with as much fluid as we can, and then we pee it all out. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, let's set you back on the warmer, because little good that's going to do, but you know, it's fine. Put my makeshift lid on it. Ugh. Sorry if I missed anything. My sister-in-law stopped by. Sleep is very important. You didn't miss too much. I was just ranting on and on and on about how amazing you were, but you missed it, so it's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, this book has been fantastic so far. Need more water? Go get it. Go get it. Sad day. Giving you the eye. my wife just texted me saying the halftime show is next, and I don't care. Because we're here. We're doing our thing. I have some pretty super bowls in my kitchen cabinet that I eat food out of, so. Chapter 10 is on page 68 of our book, our printed book. And chapter 10 is Don't Say It. Whatever that means. Don't say it. Luckily, in order for me to get through the chapter, I have to say something. But it's saying to not say it. So if I come across the word it in the chapter, I will do my best to avoid it. Okay. Chapter 10, page 68. Sit back, relax, drink your fluids, get a snack. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. Let's rock on. I open my eyes to find the doc and Nurse Peyton standing over me, looks of concern etched onto their faces. We were getting a little worried about you there. None of the other volunteers ever take quite so long to wake up as you do. Disappointment didn't do justice to how I felt. Perfect lost, longing for Lucy, an 18-year-old Lucy who no longer existed. Well, not in that form. Because if you remember the chapter before, he went back in time and was talking to Lucy, the one that got away. I shook my head and quickly checked to ensure I hadn't piled on 7 stones of fat or changed my trousers. All seemed to be as it had before, yet inside, I'd changed. I felt different, but the same. How are you feeling? The doc asked. Okay. I lied. I didn't want a debate this time. I wanted to return to my room, stick the TV on, and wait to see what happened. The nurse checked me over as the doc asked me questions. Any dreams or hallucinations? Not that I can remember clearly. Something vague about high school, but that's what I'd been talking about earlier to Dr. Ramos. The doc made some notes. Interesting, as the marker we targeted today seemed to coincide with your late adolescent years. It doesn't seem possible that targeting a marker would invoke a psychological reaction, but we are in uncharted territory. Gonna go eat noms, gonna lurk, take care. Good idea, Adamantine. Keep that strength up. You'll knock this flu. We believe in you. I didn't take in much of what she said. I just wanted out of there to think. Eventually, I headed to my room, flipped on the TV, lay down on the bed, and tried to gather my thoughts. I now had the threads of 3 lives running through my head. The first time I'd been fat. The second time, I'd been thin and stood up to the bullies in primary school, but had been mean to Lucy, and now a new third thread, where I'd experienced that intense interaction with her, seemed to be forming in my mind. The first thread seemed to be fading fast. I could feel it dissipating into fragments. I didn't know if that was a good thing or not. What if that was the real reality and the others only illusions born from dreams? I'm trying to. Thank you, much appreciated. Of course, we care about you. Wouldn't that mean I'd leave here more messed up than when I'd arrived? The most alarming thing about my latest adventure was that I had a head filled with stuff I didn't recognize. That freaked me out more than anything. Literature. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry. My head was full to bursting with it. As I racked my memory, I could suddenly remember many poems and the names of many great literary works. For example, Catcher in the Rye, Protecting Innocence, especially of Children, and The Crucible, Examining Reputations, Mass Hysteria, Lies, Power, Envy, and Guilt, Charlotte Brant's Jane Eyre, depicting a poor orphan girl's rise to become a successful and independent woman, when it had not been fashionable or permissible to be such a person. Originally, Brant even had to publish the novel under a male pseudonym. I knew all about Emily and Anne, the sibling rivalry, the death of their younger sisters and mother, and the amount they managed to pack into their tragically short lives. I grabbed a hold of my head. Why had all this stuff taken over my brain? I didn't know any of this earlier today. The deeper I thought, the more I learned. I had a whole dissertation about Edgar Allan Poe entitled The Original Goth. What the hell? What on earth had been in that amber liquid? I took a deep breath. The literary knowledge was a puzzle. You can't suddenly start knowing stuff you didn't know before from a dream. Can you? It all made my head hurt. I lay on the bed, trying not to think as my brain filled with thoughts and experiences that didn't feel like mine. I watched another random show about antiques, which helped me not to think. It felt like I had received more therapeutic value from antique programs on TV than Dr. Jaeger. Who'd have thunk it? I lay still as more information dripped into my brain like raindrops into a puddle. Then, the connection arrived. I had fulfilled my promise to Lucy. I went to Edinburgh University 6 months after my mother died and studied English literature. That explained the stuff dropping into my mind. Well, not explain it exactly. I must be going mad. With Lucy's letters of encouragement, we'd written to each other lots. Letters, not emails. I decided the best way to deal with the grief of following my mother's death had been to throw myself into the coursework. I could understand why I'd chosen English. As an only child with few friends and an introverted outlook, reading books had been my way of escaping reality. I must have read a book a week growing up. I remember the secret delight I felt when the class were given Dickens to read for GCSEs English, and The Great Gatsby for A-levels. During that intensive first-year period at university, I discovered the macabre delight of Poe, probably reflecting my melancholic mood for a time. I remembered my notebook from the other day and pulled it from my drawer. All the notes I'd made about being fat and living in joggers were still in my scrawled, untidy handwriting. Reading them felt more like reading a diary account from a stranger rather than someone personal to me. Something personal to me. I updated the pages with the second set of memories and my new, shiny, university-educated version. Comparing the three, the latest version felt accurate, alive, and relevant. The second version, where I'd lost all the weight, read like someone else's diary entry, and the first version felt like poor fiction. In my most recent life, for want of a better description, the letters Lucy and I had written to each other were filled with passion, longing, and sadness at being apart. We'd been an item for a while, a long-distance relationship. She was in London studying drama and music, and I in Edinburgh, my head buried in books. We met up during the holidays and the occasional stolen weekend. I lost my virginity to her and my heart, although I suspect she'd always had that. We split up during my second year, her third year, but we kept in touch. She told me during a tear-filled weekend in London, "Sam, you know I love you, don't you?" I nodded, dreading the next bit. She'd been acting weird all weekend, and I knew something had been brewing. "We're still so young, so inexperienced. I think we should take a break for a while." There's someone else, isn't there? She didn't meet my eye. Tears trickled down her cheeks. "Liam's his name. We've been talking a lot, and I like him. Not in the way I like you. You and I have this deep connection, but I need to..." She paused, searching for the right words, or perhaps words to make it hurt less. There weren't any. "I need to experiment, I suppose." It's just typical, isn't it? I like them, but not like I like you, because I like you too. What we have is special, but not special enough. Apparently. She stared at me for a long time, waiting for me to speak. Lucy was gorgeous. Far too gorgeous for me. I'd always known that. She must get hit on constantly, but her heart had always been true. She'd never cheat on me. I respected her honesty, but hated her now in a way that made me hate myself more. My feelings for her were so intense, so raw, and always had been. I'd spent most of my waking hours wondering what she was doing, where she was. It wasn't healthy and probably verged on obsession. I had no self-confidence or self-love, and it showed in a situation like this when all I could do was clam up and bury my feelings. I didn't speak. I just picked up my bag, walked out of the flat, and got on a train back to Edinburgh. She phoned me and left messages, but I blanked her. 3 days later, I wrote her a letter, then another letter. The first letter I filled with my pain and anguish. I think I may even threatened to kill myself. In the second letter, I begged her not to leave me. Disgusting, passionate, pathetic, loving, clever, horrible, and beautiful. It didn't work. She didn't reply to either of them. Instead, she recorded and sent me a song. Don't Say It. The words reflected some phrases I'd written in my letters to her. Very clever. I hated it, and I loved it. I'd known by then that she used music to collate, filter, and process her emotions. Sending me the song also sent me a mixed message. Did she still like me? I didn't know. Eventually, I just accepted it was her way of summing up her feelings and left it at that. I lost myself in Poe, Horace, Walpole, Daphne du Maurier, Emily Bront, and Sheridan Le Fanu. The darker, the better. Towards the end of my third year, she sent me a letter out of the blue. It didn't promise anything, just a "How are you getting on?" note. I replied cautiously, not wanting to scare her away with anything crazy. I hadn't gotten over her, but my jealous possessiveness had lessened with time and distance. Plus, I'd met and dated a few girls, students mainly, and a nurse called Brandy during the last year, which had helped me with some perspective. It also made me acutely aware that there had only ever been one girl for me. We started talking on the phone, and she surprised me one weekend by appearing at my flat door with a hold all. "Can I come in?" she asked with a cheeky smile. We spent most of the weekend in bed. It wasn't as it had been before. Something had changed. Maybe we'd just grown up a little. The passion and love remained, but Lucy felt reserved, like she was holding something back. I asked, but she just laughed it off. I knew her too well, though, and she knew that too. But I didn't push it. I asked about Liam, and she just scoffed and said it hadn't lasted long, and she didn't want to talk about other people. She only wanted to talk about us. Again, I didn't push it. She mentioned the song she'd sent me. I can't turn the page. There had been a clue in there, after all, that we weren't over forever. My dense brain missed it. I thought she'd been playing me, but perhaps I deserved that after my petulant outbursts. Love was complicated. The weekend after my finals in early June, she came to Edinburgh again for the last time. I'd been down to London only once since we'd got back together, if we were back together. Exclusively. Not something we discussed. Anyway, final exams were all consuming. Back had a few spicy chicken rings. Ooh, that sounds good. The frozen kind by White Castle brand. I didn't even know they did those. And they were tasty. Wonderful. Expected it to be super spicy, and it was, but I handled it like a pro. Nice. I do enjoy a sweet, spicy chicken, so sounds good. The recreational rogue. Be still my heart. What did I miss? I'm so out of the loop. Why would he remove affiliate status? Or was it clickbait? If so, it was successful. No, it's something I'm actually considering, Rogue. How the heck are you? I miss you. I hope you know that. I think there's a lot of people that miss you here. I know you've got your hands full, and I'm not trying to encourage you to stream. I just want you to know that you are missed. Deeply. But on that note, hi. And yes, I am considering it, and I think I'm leaning on, yeah, I should. The bottom line is, I hate that it forces viewers, myself included, to pay $5 where the streamer only gets half of it. All for what? So you can miss some ads and get a few emotes? I don't know if that's worth it. If I remove my affiliate status, you won't get any ads because I'm not affiliated. And if you really, really want to help financially, I'll have a PayPal button. Problem solved. And then you don't have to pay $5. You can do $1. You can do nothing. It really doesn't matter. Because I'll still get to do what I love to do. And everyone that wants to listen can do so without ever worrying about ads. So that's my story. You're gonna crave White Castle? I have never actually had White Castle. I never have. Wild, crazy, busy, but very happy. I'm back in college for my teaching degree and loving being a teacher. That's so cool. Little one is wild, crazy mini-me, and I love that she is feral. Sounds like a mini you. That's so cool. Good for you. And what is this? KB just ordered t-shirts? What is going on right now? Why do I have no alerts for that? I mean, thank God something showed up in chat. KB? Who is KB? Party Hard Games! Your KB. Thank you for ordering a t-shirt. What the heck? You crazy person. I can't wait to see it. I hope it's awesome. Thank you. Which one did you get? You either hate them or love them. I was raised on them. One of my dad's favorites. Well, I can't say I love them or hate them because I've never tried. And Heidi's here. Hi, Heidi. Hi. Well, here's my stance. I support your decision on affiliate changes. Twitch is crazy stupid these days, so I understand why. However, please try White Castle on a weekend or a weekday if you ever want to torment your coworkers. T-shirt with the avatar sitting on books. Yes. Nice. Good choice. There are no White Castles where I live. Not that close. I'd have to go one state over, and I don't know if it's worth the drive. But if I ever travel somewhere and I see a White Castle, I will give it a shot. Fair points, I suppose. My biggest fear is that it's wired into the algorithm and will downplay your streams if you drop it. But again, all valid points. You know, you might be right there. And I didn't think about that aspect. But at the same time, I don't feel like the reading fun category gets a lot of uptick anyway. If we're being fair. I don't think Twitch is going, oh, it's the third week in February. We really need to, or the second week in February, whatever. We really need to make sure we get reading fun up there on the big screen. You know what I mean? So, yeah. We're doing a giveaway. We're at 37 out of 40. Once we get to 40, I've got everyone's names. I'm gonna do a gift card giveaway for either Amazon or Steam. And then after that, I'll probably pin a message within each stream telling people not to subscribe. And then at some point, I'll figure out an actual date, and that's when I'm gonna chop it all off. I think that's what's gonna happen. That's my game plan anyway. Kendra, hello. So you read into the future? Apparently I do. At least right now I do. How are you? Are you unaffiliating yourself? That's probably what's gonna happen. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I'm gonna stay as my stream. I'm gonna still do what I do, but I'm not gonna have the affiliate stuff. You're good, just trying to find guidance, get back on the right path. What do you mean, Kendra? What does it all mean? I'm glad you're good, and welcome. Halftime show, meh. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I thought. Life is tough and I have lost myself in the process. Kendra, whew, join the club. Join the club. The only thing I'm going to say for my 2 cents, since you can hear me and I can't hear you, is Find friends that care about you, and find someone, a professional that you can talk to. Because I'm telling you right now, it changes your day-to-day life. Those two things. People that care about you and someone that you can talk to that actually gives ways of helping. Okay? And I'm not saying that either of those things are super easy to grab onto, but when you have them, you're in a good place. And I apologize, folks. I don't have any mods in here right now. I don't think. So my shout-out capabilities are limited. But I do want to say out loud, Party Hard Games, Rampage Rhino, Haiti, and there's others in the chat list, but please give them a follow because they all put on their own amazing streams and they're all a little bit different from each other. So do yourselves a favor. Go say hi. And in the meantime, I'll keep reading because that's why we're here. Exclamation point future if you want to see more about this book and the author and other things that they have written. In our printed copy, we are on page 74, about a quarter of the way through. Right. On that note, let's get back into it. Sam, she said as we sat in a small, cliched Italian restaurant eating pasta and slurping cheap red wine. I gazed into her eyes, amber pools of infinity that appeared to be flashing and flickering, reflecting the candles stuck on the top of an empty Chianti bottle. I did mention it was cliched, yeah? What's your plans? She asked, not meeting my gaze and picking up a melted wax on the bottle. Or picking at the melted wax, sorry. You know my plans. I'm off to the northeast to work in a car factory. Graduate trainee scheme. Yes, I know, but don't you want to do something exciting before that? I've only got 2 weeks. She stared at me, probably wondering if I was being deliberately obtuse. I wasn't. Can you maybe not take the job and come traveling with me? I want to see the world, and I know if we both get jobs, we'll never do it. We've both finished our finals, are young and free, and we'll never be like this again. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Lucy had completed her honors year. I'd had enough of studying and wanted out into the big bad world of work. I wanted to earn some money. That, perhaps more than anything, clouded my judgment. Her entreaty, like most things with Lucy, was sincere and heartfelt. Her enthusiasm and, I don't know, her va-va-voom, as I'd always thought of her sudden ability to make the most mundane situation exciting, infused her now, lighting up her face, her whole body animated with a toddler, or like a toddler, overdosing on sugar. I smiled and laughed and loved her, but refused. I'm not sure why. I suppose it's one of those moments in life that you regret later, even though it felt like the right decision. I likened it to her dumping me just over a year ago so she could go ahead and shag around, though I never said that to her in those terms. It felt to me like she needed to prove something to herself. She painted a wonderful tapestry of exotic places: Thailand, Vietnam, and Australia, I almost caved into her addictive enthusiasm. The fact that she dumped me held me back. I understood why she'd done it. She could have seen other people without me knowing and at the same time kept our relationship smoldering in the distance. But she wasn't that sort of person. I'd guessed I'd lost a little bit of trust, and deep down, even though she denied it later that evening, I couldn't help feeling that I'd been a convenient fallback for her traveling idea. Maybe what she'd been holding back was that Liam or Bob or Jimmy or whoever else she'd been sleeping with had turned her down, and I'd been her last choice, her dependable fallback option. Perspective. That wonderful thing, as I've said earlier, that age distance gives you, means I now recognize that she came to me because I'd been the one she wanted to travel with, not as a last resort, but as a first choice. Someone she could trust with her life and her heart, or so she thought. I threw that back in her face. I have a self-destructive streak that niggles away at the back of my mind, constantly pouring negativity on anything positive. As a fat loser, I hated myself so much that I abused my body and mind. As a skinny loser, same result, and now as a university-educated man, I remain a loser, making bad choices. She spent an evening begging me. How the hell I resisted, I don't know, or why. I still remember her tear-stained, beautiful face as she boarded the train from Waverley Station. I'd let her down. I'd let myself down. I never saw her again. Sorry I had to tend to little, and thanks for the kind words. As much as I would love to pick streaming back up, I don't see it happening anytime soon, though it is nice to be missed. You will always be missed, Rogue, and you are welcome in here anytime, and I mean that. Pull up a chair, read the book with me. You know what I mean? Hi, Ash. How are you feeling today? Better. Better, thank you. I had to get some stuff done. I pulled up my bootstraps, as they say. Had the kid's birthday party this afternoon, so I'm doing okay. Hopefully after another solid sleep, or I should say any solid sleep for that matter, because my sleep has sucked lately. But hopefully after some solid sleep, I will be right as rain for work tomorrow. So, but hi Ash, welcome in. We've got about a page and a half of the book until the chapter is over. Yeah. How old is your son now? He and I share the same birthday. He turned 8. 8 years old. Blows one's mind. But Ash, I'm gonna have to play that Witch Hit game with you guys sometime. Or something similar, because it looked like a blast. Let's see. Oh, that's right. She boarded the station, or boarded the train. He let her down, he let himself down, and I never saw her again. I don't think I knew that. Children's ages don't make sense once you become a parent. They really don't. It's like blink, blur, what the hell happened? I still went on to marry Lisa MacDonald. This time, our marriage ended after only 18 months. She'd found the stash of letters from Lucy. She took a sickie and read them from one day when I'd been at work. Or read through them one day when I'd been at work. She couldn't relate to the level of passion and angst in the letters to the way I reacted towards her. Why did you marry me when you felt like that about someone else? I couldn't really answer that. Lisa, I was young and... You were 21 when the letters arrived. Why didn't you go with her? I don't know. Do you regret it now? Regret what? Not going with her to see the world. A real catch-22 question. If I said no, she'd not believe me. If I said yes, well, I did say yes. 2 months later, she left me. And from then on, my life spiraled downward like before. Since the latest trip with the Amber Elixir, I'd gained a degree in English and lost the love of my life that I never knew I'd had. Tennyson had said, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all." I wasn't so sure. I felt worse now than I had before, which kind of put paid to that theory. I now began to suspect that my dreams weren't dreams at all, but the alternative explanation seemed so outlandish and crazy that it further made me doubt my sanity. It did, however, seem to be all I had left to explain the complete craziness now infecting my persona, assuming I hadn't slipped into insanity. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes often quoted meme from The Sign of Four came to mind when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. However, I wasn't quite prepared to go there at this point, or the doc might think I'd lost my marbles completely. Then I would end up in a straitjacket, having my face licked by a perverted intern. And that is chapter 10. So for those of you that need a quick catch-up, our main character here has... New figure! Sneaks in and take a seat. Welcome. Our main character has found himself in this institution, if you will. It's kind of his last chance without being homeless and whatnot. And they're experimenting on him with this amber liquid, as he refers to it. And essentially, through the help of psychiatry and therapy, they're finding out about his past and seeing if this new treatment can help change these triggers of his past. And they're trying to see if they can essentially flip the switch to make it a good past instead of a bad past. And because of this treatment, which he has done twice now, because of this, he now has these alternative timelines, which are now taking up his current self. So when we first meet him, he's very overweight, kind of a slob, has his first treatment, comes out feeling like 100 pounds lighter, and he's like, why am I not fat anymore? And they're like, you were never fat. Come to find out, alternative timeline has now taken over. And then essentially the same thing has happened again. So he studied at university and has come out being this complete book of knowledge when it comes to literature. So we're learning all kinds of things from this altered reality. And it's a pretty good book so far. We're on page 78 right now. It goes to 312, 13, something like that. And I'm really enjoying it. So, cheers to that. Now, the cool thing is, if you were to click on this link, notforvanity.com, I have partnered with this team. It's a small team based in the UK. They do book reviews, and they don't charge anything. Okay? So they'll take a book, either one you've written or one you've recommended. They'll read it, and they will review it professionally for free. This book came from one of their recommendations. I let them know what I had on my shelf as far as the queue to read, and they're like, oh, you need to read this one. So they threw it my way. I checked it out. I was like, heck yeah. I talked to the author like I always do. And next thing you know, the book shows up in the mail, and off we go. So I've reached out to them again to see what else they recommend after this one, because I like to try and get ahead of the game. They haven't seen my message just yet, but that is okay. We have time. We have time. Anyway, so if anyone's curious about what they are looking at and reviewing, etc., please click the link. Go check them out. They're great people. You will not be disappointed. Okay. Put that there. Is everyone ready for chapter 11? It starts on page 78, and it's called Let Her Go. Let her go. Doing a smashing, wonderful job with the puzzle, by the way. I know it's a tricky one, but you are nailing it. Mitchell's ready. Excellent. On that note, chapter 11. I didn't own a mobile at this stage in my life. Well, I did, but as I couldn't afford the monthly contract, I had been cut off, so to speak. It languished in my bag with its charger, unused and unloved. However, I didn't need a contract to use the internet. Over the weekend, I charged it up, logged onto the free Wi-Fi, and did some digging. I had a Facebook account with 32 friends, most of whom seemed to be Filipino women looking for a husband. I didn't remember friending them, but given my current personality flux, that didn't surprise me. In any event, I wouldn't wish me upon any of them, and I doubted they'd hang around long once they got their UK citizenship and found out what a misery I'd become. I searched for Lucy Lawrence, but found nothing. Lucy was bouncy, bubbly, and beautiful. It was inconceivable that she didn't have a social media presence. I had looked before, but not without the motivation I had now. She may have married and changed her name, which might explain her absence. I spent most of Saturday afternoon searching for her. The weekends had been designated therapy-free days for the project, so I did not need to be anywhere or do anything except mealtimes. Angus had asked me to play pool after breakfast, and my initial reaction had been to tell him where to stick his pool cue. But my new, smarter, trained brain said to me that being involved in some social interaction might be good for me and him, given his dark outlook. I discovered to my concentration that I had developed some skills at pool and snooker. I had no memory of playing this at university or any other time, but I must have acquired it at some point, as I won 4 pool games in a row and concocted a break of 59 in one game of snooker we played. Angus expressed his admiration. "You're shit hot at this shit," I'm unsure what or when shit had become such a universally useful word, but it seemed to be Angus's go-to phrase. He said, "You've changed in the last few days. You seem to have got your shit together, where I'm still stuck in this shit trying to work out my shit." He'd lost me by then, but I nodded. Agreeing with him seemed to be the easiest option. It had crept around to lunchtime by then. He sat beside me complaining about the shit he had to put up with as a teenager and the shit sandwich his parents had formed and how they'd eventually split up. He'd expected things to get better, but the shit just got deeper. I wasn't sure if he meant the shit had become psychologically more complex to understand or deep, as in up to his neck in it, I guess, and returned to my room to continue my internet search. I googled all kinds of musicians called Lucy. Who would have guessed there'd be so many? None of the searches or pictures resembled her at all. I searched actresses in case she'd gone down that route, but nothing. She hadn't become even a tiny bit famous, which I had known, but I developed a vague hope that her last interaction with me had somehow spurred her on to use her talent. I had no idea why that might be the case, but now working with the assumption that my dreams weren't dreams, I thought something I'd said or done might have skewed her development in a positive direction. I then tried a different tack and searched for Lucy's mother, Beth. Almost immediately, I discovered her Facebook profile, but couldn't see any mention of her daughter in recent posts. I did note she'd found herself a partner, Peter Robinson. Lucy's father had disappeared shortly after she'd been born and had no input into her life. Maybe that's why her mum and my mum got on so well. Their husbands had deserted both of them. Lucy's permanently, mine regularly. A feeling of doom settled into my stomach when scanning Beth's 60th birthday photos from 4 years ago. No sign of her daughter. Surely Lucy would attend her own mother's special birthday. I delved deeper into Beth's timeline and found a photo and a few notes at the bottom of the history, taken well before Facebook existed. A sad little footnote. A picture of Lucy, gorgeous and glowing, standing on the busy main street of some exotic country. Palm trees and old-fashioned cars in the background. Cuba, I reckoned. The note said, "The last photo ever taken of my beautiful, kind, and loving daughter Lucy. She died in a car crash in Miami 2 weeks after this was taken. Rest in peace, my graceful girl." I sat for ages staring at the photograph. Stunned didn't do my feelings justice. That's why I never heard from her again. She never came home. Never made music. Never fulfilled her potential. Never married, never had children, never did anything. An aching sadness settled into my soul and tears flowed freely from my eyes. I should have gone. I could have saved her, or maybe I could have persuaded her not to go at all. What a waste. My self-loathing plumbed new depths for making another terrible choice. I did an internet search to find some details about what happened, but the crash took place a few years before the digital age exploded, and I found nothing. I suppose that it would have been just another car wreck to the rest of the world. But to me, it meant so much more. Astra Bun Bun. didn't realize you were streaming. What had you pulled up? Thank you for rating me. How the heck are you? How was the stream? Sorry, my mods are like, I don't know where they are. They're probably watching the Super Bowl. Hi, it was great to see you in community night last night. I had fun just hanging out, you know. I wasn't feeling the greatest, but how's the pizza blanket doing? It's great. I love that thing. I love that blanket. It's wonderful. What were you playing? Project Zomboid. I've seen a lot of people play that game. His story has a butterfly effect feel. Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? It's interesting. Well, good. Well, thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate that. I hope you had a fun time. Folks, Astrobun is part of the Gaming for Platinum community. Please go drop a follow and go say hi. Lots of strategy, yes, I imagine. It almost got me interested in playing it, but the, like, 50,000 foot view looking down kind of thing, just, I'm not a big fan of that usually. Has to be the right kind of game. And I just couldn't get there. But I enjoy watching it from time to time. Like, it's decent to watch, for me. I just can't see myself playing it, but that's okay. Not every game is made for every person. Thank you for the raid. Seriously, I appreciate it. If you need to head out and do your thing, totally understand. If you want to sit and listen to the book, maybe do a puzzle, by all means. In the meantime, I will get back to my reading. Let's see, let me backtrack a sentence or so. I suppose that it would have been just another car wreck to the rest of the world. But to me, it meant so much more. I had to assume that this had happened in all the threads of my life that I'd experienced. I sat contemplating everything that had befallen me. My brain was sharper than it had been when I'd arrived here, no doubt about that. University had trained it to think differently and to encompass different perspectives. I contemplated and cogitated and decided it came down to 3 distinct possibilities. 1. I had slipped into a kind of mania and insanity born from either the treatments being administered to me, the trauma of my life, or as a combination of the two. I didn't accept this as my mind had never felt so clear, and my understanding of things had never been so comprehensive. 2. I'd been and continued to be dreaming everything, like in The Wizard of Oz. At some point, I'd wake up, not in my bed like Dorothy in Kansas, with my family staring at me, but back in my crummy flat waiting for the Rottweilers. I didn't believe this either, as too many things had happened, especially the dream within a dream sequence. Plus, I'd hurt myself a few times, banging my knee and stuff, and I could never recall a dream where I'd felt pain. 3. The third possibility I called my Sherlock Holmes postulation, which required a step, or more like a giant leap, into the Twilight Zone. Every time the doc put me under with her amber concoction and attempted to erase the marker or switch on my epigenetic malfunction, I physically ended up back in that part of my life where the tag lay. A kind of time travel, as crazy as that sounded in my head. Therefore, the different threads in my head weren't threads of memory, but threads of timelines that had altered. The first one had almost faded now, All I could recall were the notes I'd made of being fat and very unhappy, the latter being the cause of the former. I pondered on this for hours, arguing with myself about how it could be real. How did it happen? Did it occur to others on the program? The last question I'd try and find an answer to at dinner, but the rest just gave me a sore head. I'd become Angus's new best friend, and he plonked himself beside me at the table. He didn't have Molly to stare at, and I probably made a poor substitute. A few of the other patients had vanished during the afternoon. They'd gone home, I assumed, or to meet with boyfriends, girlfriends, or significant others. Even Ted had found somewhere better to be than here, leaving only 6 of us for dinner. The evening meal had been set up as a buffet, and I chose a well-done steak in a mint gravy sauce. Angus went with chicken and roasted peppers. I let him eat most of the main course before asking, "Angus, can I ask you, when they inject that amber stuff into your vein, do you have intense dreams?" "What?" I decided to use Angus speak. "Amber shit. Do they inject you with amber shit?" Angus smiled at me. "You're shitting me, man. Aren't you?" "I don't think so," I replied, not understanding his response. He shook his head. "I don't know what you're on about. Have you been smoking some shit?" I didn't know shit could be smoked. I wouldn't imagine it would be a pleasant experience. "I haven't been smoking any shit, Angus. What you're saying is that they don't try and fix your damaged genome?" "Hey, Sam, you're not supposed to discuss our treatments or they'll kick us out." "But I don't get injected with any shit. I just sit and chew the shit with the docs. That's it." I wondered if only I had been receiving the amber liquid treatment, or just Angus not getting it. After dinner, I managed to corner Stephanie, and she didn't know anything about any amber shit either. Maybe I was the only one getting it. Maybe not. I didn't feel I could challenge the doc without exposing that I'd been asking around. Something of a dilemma. Plus, if I was the only one being injected with this experimental gunk, did I want them to continue? That is a great question. And also the end of chapter 11. I had been wondering the same thing myself. But it only seemed like he was the one changing. Because anytime we had heard from the other patients, we didn't get any insight into any behavioral changes, different talking styles, anything. So my gut assumption was that they were all just themselves, or at least an unchanged version of themselves. Quite interesting. I got a text message. All right. I wonder if my tea is done and dusted because it's been sitting there a while. It's about to be. Turn off the warmer. There's only a little bit left. Nothing like a hot cup of tea to soothe the soul. Okay, we'll set that aside. I slouch in this chair a lot. It's a problem. Amen. I know you like your tea, Rogue. I really do. How old's your little one now? I know you told me the last time you were here, but I forgot completely. Just jive into the music. Almost 2.25. Almost 2.25. My goodness. Wow. Don't believe what people say about the terrible twos. The twos are not terrible. It's the threes that you have to worry about. I'm just kidding. It's always different for every child, so. Who knows? Maybe you'll be lucky and you won't have any terrible things at all. You might be alright. I'm headed off to bed. Have a great history stream. Thank you, Newfiggle. Sleep well. And I hope that Monday starts off your work week smooth and consistent. Sweet dreams. I'm having a blast. She has big feelings, but her curiosity and energy is infectious. Well, that's good. That's awesome. Gracias. I have off work Monday and Tuesday. Well, shoot, even better. Nice. Good for you. Enjoy it. Enjoy your time off. Rest or catch up on things, whatever floats your boat. Hell, I'm 48 and I'm always have big feelings. I just turned 39 and I feelings big too. It is my opinion that big feelings are a sign of maturity. Because we've allowed ourselves to express them enough that they can grow and become bigger. So, emotional maturity. It's a thing. That's my 2 cents. All right. We're going to move on to chapter 12. Let's see. Depending on how long this chapter is, that may do it for tonight. We'll just have to see. Chapter 12 starts us out on page 85. Lal saying, my goal is to make her more aware of hers and care for them better than I was taught. Yes, that's what we have done and continue to do with our son. We keep telling him, look, it's okay for you to feel. We want you to have these feelings. We want you to tell us about these feelings. But that doesn't mean you can kick. It's cute. I've already taught her to take deep breaths when she's frustrated, and it's the cutest thing. Because they do things so literally. I love it. I'm so glad for you. That's awesome. Little Rogue running around, tearing up the house. I'm so happy for you. Exactly. It gets better. All right. Page 85 in our printed copy, chapter 12, is called Someone Like You. I'll send you an updated picture on Discord soon. Oh, yes, please DM me. That would be amazing. Monday followed the usual routine. Dr. Ramos focused on my university days, making notes about my descent into Gothic literature and, ultimately, my disastrous decision not to go traveling with Lucy. Of course, I didn't mention the other 2 versions of my life where I didn't attend university. I had to check something, just for my sanity or perhaps my insanity. Have you got anything in your notes about me thinking I'd been fat when I came here? Fat? Yep. A humongous, flabby flab face? She frowned. There's nothing about that, Sam. Are you feeling okay? I'm fine. I just had a notion that I might have been overweight. Underweight, maybe. She made a few notes. Didn't matter to me, I got my answer. The first version now felt like a ghost of a life, slowly fading out of existence, and the second version vague and unsettling, like the remnants of a nightmare that quietly fizzles away as the morning wanes. Do you blame yourself for her death? Dr. Ramos asked, returning to our original conversation. I scoffed. Of course I do. I could have prevented it. Even if you'd gone with her, she still might have died. Maybe. But perhaps I could have talked her out of going in the first place. My lid just fell off. The way you described her, passionate, headstrong, intelligent, determined, I doubt that. She stared at me for a moment, nibbling on her pencil with her perfect teeth and perfect mouth, distracting me. Why does her death feel so fresh for you? Probably because I'd only found out about it a few days ago. I shrugged. I'm not sure. Maybe because I've not thought about it for a long time. Since Saturday and all day yesterday. So far, Sam, we've discussed your early childhood, your high school experience, and now your university career. Has this brought you any peace or resolution? She had no idea. Yes, I think so. So this is the crazy part, alright? Just interjecting here for a moment. This, drug experiment that they're doing on this guy. It's changing him, giving him a new life. But they don't know that. Wow. Just wow. Look at that puzzle. Absolutely fantastic. Well done. St. Mark's Clock in Venice, Italy. Ugh. Perfect. Wonderful. Congratulations, puzzlers. You did a good thing. That looks great. We're going to leave that right there. GG's. Whoop, whoop. He's changing so their observations in the new future would be different. Well, it's kind of confusing because it's like he knows he's changed because he's experiencing the change. Whereas it's almost like when he comes out of the experiment, that new time or that new ripple in time, that new life, everything's now caught up in the blink of an eye. So it's like in this new timeline, he's still dealing with the same people so far. I'm wondering about that too. But to them, he hasn't done anything yet. It's super confusing though, because they would have to have notes to say, oh, this is your third treatment, this is your fourth treatment, you know, whatever. But it's like they're oblivious to him changing based on the timeline. And I'm over here thinking to myself, you have to say something. You have to tell them that you're different. You have to explain why you thought you lost 100 pounds. Like, somewhere that has to click, right? I'm not the only one thinking that, surely. I don't know. I guess we'll see. The key switch hasn't been turned on yet, so he still needs to be in the experiment. The way they're playing this out, it almost feels like there's a bunch of different switches, no one more important or less important than the other. They're just learning about it based on therapy sessions. But he has definitely changed. You know what? We can hypothesize all day long. I'm gonna let our author tell us. Carry on, let's find out. Yeah, exactly. Because we could just, I mean, we're doing a sweet book club thing right now where we're just sitting about, talking about it, you know, really getting in there. But we haven't finished the book yet, so. Right. She had no idea. Yes, I think so, is where we left off. That must have been the correct response, as our session terminated soon after, and I had a good chunk of the morning left to hang around my room, reading and watching mindless TV. Reading is something I'd never have done in my previous timeline unless it was a magazine or some trashy red top. After lunch, I made my way to the lab and found Dr. Jaeger, alone this time, waiting for me. Take a seat, Sam. Before we go any further, we need to have a chat and restate some ground rules. Uh-oh. Stephanie Fredericks let it slip in our discussion this morning that you've been asking her about her treatment. I only asked if she'd been getting the same amber liquid. The rules are we do not discuss each other's treatments. I like how she said that as if it was also, or if she was also being experimented on. How many of the 12 are being given the amber liquid treatment? Dr. Jaeger stared at me for a moment before answering. 1. Just me, then. The answer didn't surprise me. Just you. Why? The simple answer is that you had the most corrupted DNA sample. As you know, 32 pieces of the damaged genome that can be targeted. I hadn't realized what a mess I was / had been compared to everyone else, but then I should have. The doc set her notes aside, leaned forward, and asked me, So far, we've undertaken what we hope are repairs to 2 faulty switches, and, in theory, your brain should now be receiving improved chemical messages as a result. How are you feeling? Better, I suppose. I might have felt better anyway, just being away from the stressful situation I'd gotten myself into. It's hard to know, really. It sounded like a very non-committal response as it emerged from my mouth, but being honest would bring on the straight-jacket scenario. Good night, party hard games. Sleep well. I hope you have a good night's rest. Can I ask, before me, how many have received this treatment? You were the 6th. Now the big question. How to phrase it. Did any of the others display or exhibit any strange behavior as I did initially? The doc considered the question. They manifested some unusual reactions. One woman, Rebecca, had convinced herself that she'd become a time traveler. We had to discontinue her treatment as continuing might have led her towards a dissociative identity disorder. My therapist has labeled me having that. fun side fact. She may have been harboring the condition before we began her treatment, but we had no record of it. She had been certain that before her first session, she'd had red hair, and that we'd dyed it blonde whilst she'd been sleeping. She paused, and I watched her as she smiled. Do I look like a hairdresser to you? I shook my head, though the same had happened to me, as my grey hair had vanished along with the excess body weight. Exactly, she continued. She'd convinced herself that she'd returned to her childhood and prevented her younger sister from drowning in a lake. Strangely enough, her natural hair color was red, but when she'd arrived here, her hair had already been blonde. As for her sister, she turned out to be alive and well and living in France. I tried to hide my excitement at this revelation and nodded thoughtfully as the doc continued. Some of the others were a little bewildered and confused after their treatment, but that's to be expected. And as we went on, it seemed to lessen, and the confusion reduced as we progressed. The doc admonished me about speaking to the other patients. Then Nurse Peyton appeared and undertook her usual health check. Later, as a syringe slipped into my arm and the dark, warm blanket of consciousness slid over me, I felt confident that my version of reality was, in fact, the only version of reality that mattered. To me, anyway. I woke up in the tiny room of my old shared student flat in Edinburgh. I'd lived in the residence halls near Haymarket for the first year of my university course. Then I rented a room in a shared flat in an old tenement block from the next 2 years. The apartment, situated just off London Road near the Omni Centre, was within walking distance of at least 15 bars. Thinking about it, almost anywhere you live in Edinburgh was within walking distance of at least 15 bars. If this had happened previously, I would have believed I had been experiencing a very vivid dream. But I realized something I should have realized sooner. Smells. I could smell. I'd never been able to smell in a dream before. In my first timeline, I remembered my primary school teacher's perfume, and in the second one, the stink of cigarettes from the kids as they rushed past me, and Lucy's intoxicating scent as she leaned close to me. Now, the pungent stench of my university bedroom assailed my nostrils. It was overlaid with something else that I couldn't quite place. I checked the date on my watch, Saturday, June 5th. I didn't know the year. Was it my second or third at university? Beside my bed, splayed on the floor where I must have tossed it earlier, I spotted a manual from the car manufacturer I went to work for after graduating. I picked it up, and the page I'd given up reading had been all about health and safety. I assumed that this must have been my final year. I realized with something approaching elation that Lucy had not yet died or traveled to Miami. Judging by the pile of female clothes and paraphernalia lying around the room, she'd gone either to find food or to the bathroom. The latter, never a pleasant experience for visitors to a flat shared by 4 blokes. That's slang for guys. It wasn't an enjoyable experience for any of us either, but we'd got used to it. Then I recognized the overlying scent that pervaded my room. The smell of sex. Lucy came bursting back through the door wearing one of my shirts and her knickers. Jeez, Sam, that bathroom stinks. It's a rancid health hazard. I'm sure someone has died, and you've hidden them under the floorboards. I stared at the loveliest face I'd ever seen, ever would see. All the emotions of the last few days rose to the surface. Tears formed in my eyes, and I started wailing. A shocked Lucy immediately sat on the bed. I grabbed onto her, never wanting to let go, ever. What's wrong, Sam? I couldn't speak. Okay, I'm sorry, I won't mention the bathroom again. I've missed you so much, I squeaked from under her breasts. I've only been gone a few minutes. It felt like forever, I meowed. Are you okay? I'm emotional. Now that I could have guessed. I took a deep breath and lifted my head. She kissed my tears away, and I smiled, drinking her in, her face, eyes, body, scent, everything. You're freaking me out, Sam. I shook my head. Sorry, I don't mean to. I just want to stay like this for forever. You'll probably get hungry. I'll eat you. So you'll become a cannibal. If that's what it takes never to leave your side, yes. She pushed me away playfully. What's gotten into you? You? She cocked her head to one side. Actually, it's probably the other way around, isn't it? And now I've been to the toilet, we can do it again. Yes, please. Making love to Lucy was the nearest thing to heaven I'll ever experience. Yes, for the then me, it had probably only been a few hours, but for the 40-year-old me, it felt like the first time. I literally never wanted to be apart from her. Holding that body, kissing that mouth, touching that face. I felt myself welling up again, but managed to sniff down the tears. Lying entwined together afterwards, Lucy asked me what I knew she'd come here to ask me. The last time she'd waited until we'd gone out to eat, but my emotional outburst must have made her decide this would be a good time. How set are you on starting this new job? Why? I'm thinking of going traveling. She rolled over, leaned on my chest, rested her chin on her hand, and stared at me. Those eyes. God, I love those eyes. Traveling where? She shrugged. The Far East? Thailand? Vietnam? Australia? Maybe the Caribbean and Florida too? I, of course, knew the outcome of that, but I couldn't exactly blurt out, "Don't go to Miami or you'll die." Why are you telling me? She gently punched my arm. Because I want you to come with me, silly. I smiled. How could I have ever resisted that face? I still felt that she was holding something back. That intuition from years ago persisted in the here and now. Or was it there and then? The timeline thing confused me. There's something you're not telling me. She frowned. Is there? I think so. Well, if there is, I can't think what. Well, what do you think? And here it was, the chance to change history. Rebecca had saved her sister. Could I save Lucy? What repercussions would that have for my life, for her life, for the world? If she lived, what effect would that have on her mother, the people she'd meet and interact with? Changing something like this could have huge repercussions, but would anyone realize? Probably not. I used to be fat, but now nobody but me seemed to remember. Even I only remembered because I wrote it down. I wondered why my notes didn't vanish. A puzzle to puzzle over later. It wasn't like Lucy would go on to be a mass murderer. All she could bring to the world would be happiness and light. If I say no, will you go anyway? She stared at me. Oh, Purple. Hi, Purple. Tier 2 again. You gotta stop that. Thank you, Purple. Hello, my friend. How are you? Let me edit the count here. Push-ups. We're at 39 out of 40. My goodness. When we get one more sub, I'm going to do a giveaway. But before I forget, Purple, let me put your name inside the hat 2 times. Because you did a tier 2. Just using my amazing penmanship. And by amazing, I mean fair at best. I almost dropped one, but I caught it. Thank you, Purple, for the resub. Just keep in mind that is probably going to be the last time you do that. But I appreciate you. Mitchell. Thank you, Mitchell. Mitchell, you know better. You know I'm going to axe it at the end. Thank you for the resub as well. And now I've got you in the hat. Let me update my numbers. So that puts us at 25 for the push-ups. And we are now at 40. We are 40 out of 40, which means after I finish this chapter and before we raid out, we are doing a giveaway. We are doing a giveaway. Thank you for that, Mitchell. I appreciate you. All right. Everyone sit tight. We're going to finish the rest of this chapter. I'm going to do some push-ups. We're going to give someone a gift card, and then we're going to raid out and see who we can go say hello to. Okay? Okay. Good talk. Let's see. Oh, right. We were on the other page. Because he said, or no, she stared at me. Probably, but I'd rather go with you. In other words, we all know she's going to go on this trip regardless. What about the other guys you dated over the last few years? Why not one of them? She smiled. And there it is, the little green-eyed monster. I had been wondering when he'd show up. That's a little sexist. Why should jealousy be a male? If you're jealous, then it's a male. If I'm jealous, then it's a female. I considered her answer. Okay, I'll let you have that. Oh, very generous of you. Now back to my question. Are you coming with me or not? I might. Inside, I was jumping up and down, screaming, yes, for Christ's sake, yes. But I knew that's not how the 21-year-old me, 22 in 3 weeks, would react. And what would it take to turn that might into a yes? She asked, slipping her hand under the covers. God, I was horny again. When people say I'd love to be 21 again, they say that knowing it'll never happen. And yet here I was, living that statement, living that moment. That could work, I said, pulling her on top of me and locking my lips to hers. What the hell did she see in me? I had to try and remember, and back then I hadn't spent another 2 decades simmering in misery, brewing up the self-hatred potion I chose to sip from all that time. At this stage in my life, I had hope and ambition. Plus, I'd stopped the bullying in primary school and hadn't pushed this incredible girl out of my life on the last day of high school. I'd also lived up to the promise I'd made to her to make something of myself by going to university after my mother's death. Now I had the opportunity to save Lucy's life. Not that she knew. She'd probably never know that, but it didn't matter. Later, sitting in the Italian restaurant sipping wine we couldn't afford, she asked me again. This time, I said yes. But there are a few conditions. She leaned over and kissed me. Wonderful. What conditions? I'd spent most of the afternoon thinking this through. I handed her a notebook and pen. She looked at them. What? I'm your secretary now. I giggled, so happy, so high on life. Being with this girl after so long felt incredibly liberating. I felt like I could fly. I'd never been this optimistic, this joyous. How could life have ever been this good? Well, it never had for me. Just for a few minutes, I want you to write down some stuff and never forget it, even if I do, okay? Why would you forget it? I laughed it off, just in case my head's mush after all the exams. I didn't know when the younger me got his head back, if that was the proper term. Did any of what I'd said and done whilst I'd been there stick? Or did the younger me return to a few blank hours or days, depending on how long I got to hang about? This would be my insurance policy. Lucy's insurance policy. First of all, we're not going near Florida. Why not? I had an answer ready. I want to take my kids there one day. I want it all to be a huge, mysterious, and exciting surprise for me and them. She peered at me for a moment. Kids? Future? That's not like you, Mr. Harris. There's a lot you don't know about me. Plus, it's the US. It's not that exotic, is it? No, it's really not. Moving on. She chewed on her lip. I love it when she did that. And then she grinned. Yeah, okay, no biggie. Go on then, write it down. Okay, bossy. Next. When we get back and get jobs, we need to buy as many shares in the following companies as we can. Amazon, Nike, Alphabet Inc., Apple, Microsoft, Domino's Pizza, any pharmaceutical group, and pretty much any computer games manufacturer. But to be safe, just stick with the Games Workshop, PLC. And I suppose We have to include JD Sports, though the owner's not everyone's cup of tea. What is all this? Have you written it all down? Yeah, I think so, but I've not heard of half of these companies. You will do. Lucy put the pad and pen down, leaned over, and searched my face. There's something different about you. She wasn't kidding. I've just grown up a bit. She shook her head. It's not that. I came here this weekend expecting to have to force you to come with me on this trip. In fact, I'd been preparing myself for you saying no. I thought you'd never walk away from the job you'd been offered. Not even for me. Especially not for me after what happened. I'd forgotten how bright Lucy was. I might just have tickled her spider sense. I needed to tread warily. I sighed and took a huge slug of wine. Lucy, when you broke up with me, it shattered me. It really did. I'm not going to lie, I even briefly might have hated you for doing that to me. But my literary journey over the past few years has taught me that the line between love and hate is very slender. After I'd had some time to simmer in my own bitterness, I eventually understood why you did what you did. We were young. We're still young. And you needed to be young. I'd been too possessive, too suffocating, and too... I searched for the right words. In your face, I guess, is the best I can come up with. Now I'm different. Yeah, I'll still make mistakes, mess up, and no doubt piss you off, but probably without even knowing I've done it or how, but one thing's remained constant. Even when I'm dating other girls, you were the one for me. You always have been. Always will be. I sat back and drank some more wine and watched her face as a frown became bemusement, became a smile. You never told me you'd been out with other girls. Ah, the green-eyed monster, I smiled. I wondered when she'd show up. Very clever. I love it when little quips like that come back around and repurpose themselves in a story. Well done, author. That's the end of the chapter, by the way. So I guess we'll have to see what happens. What if he did something to change his future? Thank you. What if he did something to change his future in a new timeline? Like going on that trip, and let's say that they did go to Florida after all, but he tried to, quote, stop the accident or whatever. But in that new timeline, he is in the accident and he dies. Would he just like disappear from the table where the doctor is sitting next to? Or would it be like he was never there at all? My prediction is they become so wealthy that they become money power hungry and grow apart anyway. Huh. Interesting. Maybe no matter how much he tries, he was going to be alone no matter what. Could very well be. Could very well be. I predict he marries the doctor. I don't have any predictions yet. I'm just curious because, I mean, we're only We're not quite 100 pages. We'll be starting page 97. So we're only about a third of the way through the book. Love that we're all talking about the pessimistic views. Yeah, none of you are saying anything nice. Come on. All right. As promised, it's push-up time. How many do I owe? 25? Okay. So let's get that awkward camera angle view. Well, if we're only a third on the plot, it has to move somehow. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I love this story, though. It's going really well. Very glad it was recommended. All right. Push-ups.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.
Thank you. Push-ups. Drawing for the $25 Steam or Amazon gift card. And then we'll go find someone to raid. Alrighty. I haven't done push-ups in a while.
Is it hot in here? Are you hot? I mean, you are hot. I mean...
Well, hello, Vincent. Hi there. All right. My original plan was to put all these in a clear container and then shake it all around. But I don't have a clear container. So, what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to take the other hats, turn it into some kind of ball container, whatever. Oh, I'm shaking it so good. Oops. So good. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the $25 Amazon or Steam gift card is whoever's on this piece of paper. Are you ready? My goodness, he's not here right now. Zarias is the winner. Rampage Rhino, are you still here? Mr. Rhino? If you are, I need your assistance. I will have to get that man a message. Oh, and I'm just looking at Discord now. Rogue, look at the baby. Oh my goodness. She is so freaking cute. Oh my gosh. You have got such a gorgeous kid. You are both blessed and screwed all at the same time. Oh man. What a cutie. She is gonna break some hearts. I don't mean to brag, but she is, right? She really is. She's adorable. You are screwed. Oh boy. All right. Let me... Gotta figure out how to get a word to Zorius. You know, I'll figure out later. It's fine. Haha, and the blue eyes she got from my dad are killer. Yes. I was... Which picture is it I was looking at? The one in the kitchen where you're kind of like on the floor, it looks like. But then when she's holding up cereal, oh my goodness. Although they don't look blue to me, but it could be the picture, could be the lighting. Either way, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Congrats. Wonderful little kiddo. My husband's are brown hazel, mine are green blue hazel, and hers are just bright blue. Well, that's awesome. Blue eyes are pretty good. I'm a blue-eyed guy myself, so I might be a little, you know, biased. But it's fine. Alright. Who can we raid? Let me take a look. We've got Mr. Carrington, who's playing Jackbox Party Packs. We've got Here There Be Monsters. Pixie is playing Stardew Valley. Oh, Quincy Sky is playing Palia. We haven't raided Quincy in quite a while. Perhaps we should do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go say hi to Quincy. If I can type. We'll be back on Sunday. No, wait, today is Sunday. Holy buckets. We'll be back on Wednesday again. We did Wednesday last week. We're doing Wednesday again this week because of basketball. But after that, we'll be back to our typical Sunday, Thursday routine. Okay? So we'll continue this book on Wednesday. So keep that in mind. All right, folks. Thank you again for your blessings upon my stream, upon me. Never goes unnoticed, ever. So thank you. I appreciate you being here. I hope you're enjoying the book. I hope I'm doing it justice at the same time. I know I am loving the story. I love the discussions we're getting out of it too. But in the meantime, as always, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have a fantastic night.